So it's early spring here in Romania, and I find myself at the country house location, which I got maybe 5 or 6 years back, and I started coming here to 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 have a place, to be in a place where I can be by myself with my own being. So this is the place where I started to get into myself, have the quietness and the stillness to be by myself and investigate myself and the nature of this experience of life. So check this out. This house, which I was on the terrain when I got to the place, was an old house. And after some years, after about 3 years, the house started to crumble a bit and to, like, I don't know the name in English, but it started to fall on a bit on a certain side because it's on a hill. It's constructed on a hill, and it started to slowly move downward, and it was obvious that the house was old and it needed either rehabilitation or it needed to be like taken down and another one to be built. And I decided to try to rehabilitate it so I can save it. And last year there has been the foundation done all around the house. A ditch was dug, maybe 16 in some areas, in other areas 18 centimeters, and then this foundation was poured in. So this is what was done last year. But this year we, like, the construction had to go on, right? And these pillars have to be built because they have to sustain the upper belt or something of where the new roof has to come. So even since last year when I started, and I was pretty much involved in the construction, I was working hand by hand with another man that was digging the hole, and I was carrying the dirt with the wheelbarrow, and then I helped, like, even in like pouring the cement here. But I haven't specifically done the cement, but I was like arranging it. And so I've worked almost hand by hand on the foundation of this new house or new rehabilitation of this old house. And while looking at it, like after finishing it, I felt like, man, this is such a, like, even though I've worked on it and I've put much effort into it, after I've done it, it was finished, it felt like so much nonsense. It felt like so much concrete, and I didn't understood. For example, look at this, and I will show you the front as well, because it's only like 30 centimeters up from the ground, but on the front, because it was on a hill, we had to go almost 1 meter of concrete foundation. So it was so much concrete, and I was wondering, like, what will happen with this house maybe in 50 years, like 100 years from now? Let's say nobody will live here, perhaps, in the future. And like, it felt so unnatural to have this high amount of concrete. Just it felt like a, how can you call it, like a disturbance in the flow of nature. Like, so much concrete. How many years will it take for this concrete to decompose itself? And then it got me thinking, like, what an unnatural way to build a house. Why would you build a house that is so invasive? That was the word that I was looking for. So invasive with nature. Like, and this is only one example of this house on a hill somewhere in Romania. But think about the cities, which are full of concrete. And I was thinking, like so much concrete. This takes perhaps 100 years to just decompose itself. But then how many years will it take to decompose fully? Like it feels so unnatural to build this type of structures that have no type of like decomposition, natural decomposition to them. Because in the past, people would have like were mainly building houses out of more natural materials that were like mostly out of wood, mostly out of uh, bricks, and bricks were made out of clay. So it was mostly built with clay and dirt and earth, and sometimes wood, and mostly stone in many locations. So it was mostly stone, wood, and soil, dirt. Uh, so it was easily decomposable. You left one of those houses, I don't know, you left it out to nature, it will start to decompose it. But what about this concrete? You could feel so invasive, the concrete, and I couldn't like. It felt so like such an unnatural way to build a house. And then today, 1 year after, it was actually the construction was done last spring. So now it's again spring. So it was 1 year back, and now I'm not working anymore at this, so I'm not helping. But like a team of people came and they started building these frames for pouring in the concrete pillars. And man, I don't know what to say. Maybe I could be called like too sensible or too, I don't know, too unrealistic. But for me, like looking at this thing, and I wanted to record this now because it's fresh and it's real. Like look at this. Look at this frame made out of pine wood. This is pine wood from the forest. These pines have been cut to create this frame, which people use it to build their houses with. But they use it in such a, like I was looking at how people are, they felt to me when they were cutting the material, they were so uncaring, like sparing, like not like, okay, oh, I cut it wrong, let's get another one, you know? Like, these are pine trees, man, and from one matured pine tree that took it maybe 20 or 30 years to grow, you can get maybe 4 or 5 of these slices, like this. So you think about it, only 3 slices here, and some more pieces, and you get one pine tree cut. But look how many they are. And only for building this structure here, how many pine trees had to be cut down. So I am looking at this thing, man, and I can't imagine, no, that's not a good word. Like, I'm looking at it and I'm seeing life. This is not a frame done out of wood. This is a pine tree. This is a living thing that was living and has been cut down to make this framework. And when I look at this wood, I can feel the tree that it was in the forest, and it's so freshly cut because it still smells like it still has the smell in it. So people cut these trees, man. We create everything with nature. We take everything from nature and we create using the materials provided in nature. And I am asking myself, how is this not holy? How is this not to be reverenced? Like, how is this structure here not to be even, I don't know, kneeling before it, you know, thanking it, not even thanking, because thanking it's so little, just acknowledging its being and acknowledging how this part of nature It's just so willing to let humans, to allow humans to work with it. Look at the trees, look at the animals, look at the entire nature. It is giving itself to humans. And in my opinion, if we are using nature to create things with nature's resources and its body, then why not become in reverence of this gift? Like these trees, these are the bodies. This framework here is the body of a tree. It was a tree. We are constructing with the bodies of nature. And they are living creatures. So a bit of not only respect, but just to understand this. Because I feel that when people look at things, they just think, oh, that's just a wood. Oh, let me get another piece and let me order 100 more and I'll create a house only out of wood, you know? But okay, you can do that, but also add to that formula the deep understanding of that act, the deep understanding of what you're receiving and what you're doing, and the possible not only appreciation, because appreciation for this is so little, but awe and reverence and like kneeling before that. Because look at these trees, like look at this. This is a peach tree. It was here on the property when the property was got. This is a peach tree. Look at it. It took it perhaps 30 years to get to this size. Imagine somebody would come and just cut it down. And this makes like so tasty peaches because it's the old trees. It's the old species of trees, which you can't even find anymore. And other trees on this property, like people were coming here and they were saying like, oh, you have so much wood, you can cut so much. Like you have wood to warm yourself for 2 or 3 winters. And I was like, how would I ever cut the trees from the property? Like, how would I do that? Why would I even do that? So I felt to record this because really I was looking at these pine trees and I was feeling deeply moved that these pine trees have had to be taken down only to build a framework, to pour cement, to build a house out of concrete, which is so unnatural, in my opinion, a house out of concrete. Why not build houses that are able to decompose themselves after 50 years? Wouldn't it just be more natural to just build another house in 50 years and just let the old one just decompose and let it down to nature? Just build it out of soil or some natural materials that can be decomposed. Why do we need structures like this out of concrete? Like, and why do people need, like, why to this day is humanity still using wood to heat itself? Like, humanity has reached the level of technology that is able to study the nature of reality to such a degree, like build, I don't know, particle accelerators and study the molecules. Imagine the technologies and the clever and intelligence needed to create a particle accelerator or to study black holes and things of this nature. Like, humanity is almost on the verge of inventing immortality, of finding the gene to invent immortality. And to this day and age, to not already use a sustainable force or a sustainable source of energy that is able to stop the freaking cutting down of the trees of this earth. How is that even intelligent in any way, to cut down the trees to burn them? To burn them for wood, for heating up. How is that even intelligent, since the trees give off the oxygen that we breathe and they create the shade enough for waters to be able to not dry up and have rivers and resources on this planet, man. So it feels like, in my opinion, there is something completely off the charts here, completely unnatural. Like how is even possible to have a world like this? How is even possible, for example, to invent plastic? Like, before the plastic being invented, hasn't anyone thought about, okay, what will we do after, I don't know how many billions of people will start using plastic? Like, what will we do with it? Like, it will gather up. Like, before inventing this and putting it out for the world to consume and use this product, where is the intelligence? Where is the strategic thinking to preserve this earth, to preserve our lives? There doesn't seem to be one. There doesn't seem to be a strategic thinking at all. And it's obvious that it's not. There is no strategic thinking. There doesn't seem to be, or there doesn't seem to have been a mind that was thinking of how to preserve our own co-inhabiting of this earth, our own life on this earth. It felt like only like consuming down everything that we can to the highest rate possible, in which we can deplete this earth of these resources and bring about our own destruction. Really, like, this is far from being a pessimistic thought. It's just the reality of just looking around and observing what has been happening. Like, where was the strategic thinking in the choices that humanity has been making with handling resources? Like, wasn't it obvious? Like, the scientists and the smart people that have been walking on this planet, inventing so many technologies, would have been able to invent by now the necessary technology that would allow us to build houses in a smart way, that would allow us to have a clean energy source without freaking depleting the oil of this planet and the trees, cutting down the trees. And children, the idea is that we ourselves are learning how to destroy our own planet. Because think about it, like, I've created this cement, this concrete structure. I've built this with my own hands last year, without knowing what I was doing, because this is how things are constructed, you know. And then to see it constructed, and then to just have like a slap on my, like, what the heck is this structure? It feels so unnatural, so invasive. It's like, what the heck is this? So children are learning how to destroy their own planet it's actually giving them the ability to be alive. They are learning how to kill themselves in a way, slowly, invisibly. It's a slow death. Because no one knows, like, we are just learning. Oh, just go and buy a plastic thing and throw it on the street. Like, here in nature, I go in nature here, people just throw a lot of plastic bottles everywhere. It's like, anyway, but just, there is no, like, it feels so much disconnection towards the consequences of one's actions. Like, children are learning how things are done, but they are learning these unnatural ways in which things are done. And look at this. So much wood and this wood will not even suffice for constructing the whole house. So children are learning, and we as humans are learning how to destroy things. There is almost zero connection with nature and its intelligence, and how can humanity learn to coexist and live together with it, together with this abundant nature that is so giving. Like, look at it. It's so giving. So the idea is that many people, they don't necessarily want to harm things. They might not necessarily want to harm the environment, or they just don't, they are learning how to harm the environment, thinking that it is normality, because there is zero other alternative, zero other education, zero other understanding. It's more than education. See, it's an understanding of what reality is, what is a human being, what is our human life, and what is this planet that is hosting this experience of this human experience unfolding. There is a complete missing of information and knowledge about our entire life, and this missing information is what causes this disconnection. Because when you don't know what a tree is, you think that a tree is just something that makes fruits and hits up in the winter, hits my house up in the winter. You don't know what a tree really is. You don't know what the sky is, or your body, or anything. So it's easy for you to just go and destroy what you don't know, because you don't have awareness of what you're doing. So I want to show you one last thing. So here is the end of the property. Here is where this property ends, this terrain ends. And I want to show you something. It's almost down. It's almost, the sun has set. It's almost going dark now, but I think it's still visible. So check this out. Here in the back of this property, on the next property, which was, no one is living here. This was an unlived property, but it's owned by somebody. So check this out. When I first came here, all this area here that you will see right now, it was having these plum trees. There were plum trees here, which you can see the remains of. There were plum trees which were making this traditional and old type of variety of plums, which was super delicious and super sweet. You can't find on the market, and you can't find in the store this variety of plums that were planted in the 80s or 70s, like these ones here, 80s and 90s. This is an old variety of plum which were making like smaller plums, not so big like you find in the store right now, but they were delicious, deliciously tasting. And here, this one, look at it. This one, up until this winter, this used to be an incredibly type of variety of plums, which in Romania we call corcoduși. And this is like, was making like cherry plums. They were red, and I can't even describe to you the taste of these cherry plums here. I'll have to search the name in English, because it's a variety of, not necessarily plums, it's a different variety. But I've got to taste from it in 1 year, and I've tasted from many of such trees before, but this one, man, like this one had such a taste to it. It was, you could almost like, I could almost like cry out of the taste of this stuff. And this winter, here it is. It's no more here, because people have been needing wood to heat themselves. In this winter, it was gone, man. The tree is gone. And similar, look at this stuff. Another tree was here. This one was not a fruiting tree, but it was such a large tree, like this one. It was of the same height and like that one. And I don't know if next year this one will be here, but look at it. And Look at this one now. It's gone, man. And in a couple of years, if these people don't have to what to eat, these are all fruiting trees. These are plum trees. And here there was another tree, which I don't find it now. It's gone. This one is gone as well. Oh, a bit of I think this is it. A bit of it was left. This is like, oh, it makes the white flowers, but I'll have to research the name because I don't know the name now. But look at all these things. This was an old walnut tree. This one was actually old. It was okay to be cut, but this one was the only one which was old, and it was dried up. But the rest of them, like all of them, those there were plum trees. So now check this out. Imagine that these people, did they actually wanted to hurt anybody? Did they actually wanted to do a harm? I don't think so. I don't think they actually deliberately thought of doing any harm. This is what is normal to do. This is what humanity's normality is at this moment. They just destroy things without actually understanding what they're doing. Because they don't understand what a tree is. They can't feel anything probably. I just imagine that even if they feel something in their heart, they feel perhaps so disconnected from their heart, because I know how I was when I felt disconnected from my heart. So I know how that is. When you really don't understand anything, you don't understand the value of these things which we call just nature, just trees. And right now, it's actually quite difficult to look at this. This is the result of one winter and people not knowing or having other resource to heat themselves. Like these trees are houses for birds and for all sorts of fruits and animals, and sometimes mushroom if you don't intervene in the environment. And then the forest creates water, and the water creates rain.